All right, everybody, we are back with lesson number 17. We got to get into food categories. I saved this for last. When I started teaching 20 years ago, I started with food categories from the grocery. I'd go in the grocery store, take people around the perimeter, down the inner aisles. I would teach them that the perimeter items, like every nutrition coach does, those are your ideal foods. You want to combine whole foods. And then I would take them down the inner aisles, teach them how to have Captain Crunch and not have the evil effects of the Captain Crunch take place by way of provoking the the fat bus. Yeah, you can fix anything with this program, but we are a whole food based program. But now I flip the script. I don't teach foods first. I teach the bulletproof shield first. Because what matters is not necessarily the food as much as it does what is your lifestyle around that food. And that's what we've been doing. We went through the Shabola Shield. That's our lifestyle. That's how we have a perfect day and then two perfect days. And then we lock it down and rip off the EFB knob. So now we're getting into food categories and we just have to learn where to put foods. Every food has a category that it goes in if it's whole food. Now, if it's a processed food, if it's in the inner aisles, we go by certain food formulas and we calculate those formulas, and that tells us whether we approve it or not. We approve a food based upon its provocation of the fat bus and how elevated that fat bus might get depending on that food. But let's start with what God intended us to eat. Let's start with whole foods in fast track, and then I think you'll have a better understanding of what we're trying to accomplish here. We're in our fast track tab, and when you're going through fast track, go and complete all these laps. This will teach you website navigation. If you're truly all in on this lifestyle, you're going to want to go through the laps. There's 7 laps, and that teaches you navigation because this is what's going to rule your eating life now. Remember, this is not a diet. The first 3 letters of the word diet spell die. Anything we start with and can't stay with for the rest of our life is a waste of our time. This is command central for me. It's how I run my eating lifestyle. I'm plugging into this via my phone, and you can turn every page of this website into a little app on your phone. So everything that I need on the website, I've got short linked on my phone. I've got on my iPad, and then before I go to bed, I plug in here, get my journal in. Boom! It's where I do my planning, my grocery list planning. Everything that I could possibly need is right here on the website. These laps teach you that. We are, if you've ever watched The Matrix and they plugged in to Neo and he learned Kung Fu and he learned everything you need to know. I wish I could plug it into you, but it's the next best thing. This is the system right here. We're getting you out of the matrix, out of the miasma of eat what you want, when you want, as much as you want, and not unto the Lord, so that you're eating up to 3 eating episodes a day, breakfast for the Father, lunch for the Son, dinner for the Holy Spirit. And we got you out of the matrix. Okay, so we go through the laps. We'll find our food combination chart. We'll find everything we need right here. But we're talking about food categories today. I'm going to the basic food library. This is a very basic food library. This is your whole foods. This does not include the thousands and thousands and thousands of food library items that you have available to you after fast track. This is where everybody starts so that we can eat practically, sustainably, and in a fun way. Category 1 lean proteins. Again, I'm going to stress there are thousands of foods in the big library. We got to start somewhere. So we take whole foods and we put them in a category. You'll want to really study these, okay? I want you to go through here and heart these too. You may decide to become a subscriber of Faithfully Fit and help us promote wellness throughout our nation. But if you don't, it's okay. We're going to love on you, help you anyway. But just in case you do, go on and heart the food you like. We have a very advanced system now of looking at what your favorite foods are and helping you put together menus if you're a subscriber. And those menus are based upon the foods that you're hearting in this mini library, in the big library, and the recipe library. So go on and heart them as you're looking at this and going through the laps. So you've got things like 96% lean ground beef. And this little icon here is how you add it to your grocery list, print your grocery list, or put it on the phone. And then you get in the grocery store, focus on what you can have, not on what you can't have. Back to lean protein. So you got boar's head London broil, less nitrates than a regular processed meat. Boar's head maple glazed ham, and many other boar's head products in the library. We just put a few here to give you an idea. All fish goes here, egg whites, fat-free cottage cheese, low-fat cottage cheese, Greek plain yogurt, flounder, You've got monkfish, Oikos triple zero yogurt, sea bass, tilapia, tuna, turkey breast, venison. In fact, the big library will have even your Hebrew National Franks, 97% lean, just a ton of stuff there. Your Kroger Carb Master milk, your fat-free Fairlife milk. I've got it in a milk category below, but it's actually a category 1. These foods here, these are what help you preserve your metabolism, preserve your muscle. I call them exercise in a category. And if you remember from previous lessons, as long as I don't prepare them in any oil but MCT, coconut, or ghee or cooking spray, the category is not altered. You almost can't put any of these lean proteins on as body fat. You almost can't you almost can't overeat them. The reason we don't want you overeating them, we want your stomach to shrink. So this is where we end up with some of the foods we'll need for our hamburger, for our spaghetti, all the things you used to eat. We're still going to be able to have them. We're just pivoting. You've got your processed meat. If you're packing a sandwich, a budget-friendly sandwich to go to work, you've got your fish. You've got egg whites for egg white and spinach omelets. We'll get whole eggs in another category. But category 1 is very versatile. You'll notice as you're going through the laps, there are different combination charts. And where you see category 1 lean protein, this is what it's talking about. Meaning if you control your portion, you can have any of these lean proteins on that plate, or you can use the 2-hand rule. And you'll notice 1 is in many of these combinations. That red column, that's your blowtorch column. If you stay in the red column having category 1s and 1s and 2s, you're going to blowtorch fat off the body. It's like taking a blowtorch to butter. So learn these. Ask questions in the members only group. This is why I don't just do these recordings and I do live classes to answer your questions almost every day of the week, but Sunday. We have the members only group with a great staff in there to take you by the hand. Thousands of dollars of value at your disposal. So don't disregard or dishonor the program just because you didn't have to pay anything. This is a mission from God, and we want to help you learn about how to categorize foods. These foods break down into amino acids. I call amino acids gut be gone and butt be gone. You're never going to have a problem with these if you portion control and cook them in the right thing. Now, if you go to a restaurant and you were to have, let's say you have some salmon, all fish goes in category 1. If you have salmon, what did they cook that in? They didn't cook it in MCT oil, coconut oil, or ghee. They cooked that in probably some sort of olive oil or vegetable oil. So we want to pause and we want to say, okay, that salmon is no longer a category 1. It's a category 4. I'm going to be talking more about that. Then you've got exercise on a stalk. Category 2, fibrous carb, just like lean proteins. There's exercise on a plate. Fibrous carb helps put the brakes on the fat bus along with lean protein. This is how we get to have our carbohydrate, is by having lean protein and fibrous carb. You'll notice that 1s and 2s together, fish and broccoli, a hamburger steak patty, 96 lean hamburger steak patty with green beans. This is exercise on a plate. The thermic effect of these foods, we teach this in advanced class, it's so elevated, you're literally burning fat just by digesting the food on the 3rd day of the program. Crazy stuff. It's enough to cause you to have a running fit, to know that every time that you eat up to 3 eating episodes a day, that's 1 plus 2 plus MCT, you're exercising. You're getting blood flow to the digestive system, expending energy. You're in a calorie deficit. So to even break down your foods, you're burning fat. All leafy greens, asparagus, bell peppers, broccoli, Brussels, cauliflower, rice cauliflower, celery, collards, green beans, iceberg lettuce, jicama, kale, mushrooms, okra, peppers, romaine lettuce, spinach, squash. Wowza, isn't that great, y'all? Isn't that fabulous? So you got all of these foods. And by the way, there are category 2 breads as well. I'm going to scroll down and just show you a couple that are down here. These are category 2 breads. So in the big library, there's -2, -3 breads. The -2, 3, and -3 breads mean that these breads don't break down like a white bread. The whiter the bread, the quicker you're dead. These breads, these tortillas break down more like a green bean, and there's a lot of them. There's over 100 in the big library, and in the fast track library, there's a few that we've put there that are easy to find at Kroger and Ingles and Publix, and other places too. So you won't get the 100 different options, but you'll get several options, because again, this is what allows us to go back up here. Whereas before we might be having a tavern ham sandwich on white bread, we didn't realize that those calories were provoking the fat bus, and now we can't lose fat. So we just pivot and we switch our bread or our tortilla. And by doing that with a category 2 bread, -2 or -3 bread on the weight loss meter in the library, if we do that with that bread, then our body, we taste bread. We taste a sandwich. We taste a hamburger. We taste a hot dog. But our body says, oh, this has the same nutrient profile as a green bean, so we're going to stop the fat bus. So before that peanut butter sandwich was causing weight gain, now that peanut butter sandwich is allowing for weight loss. Do you see? You may not understand yet, but if you'll just follow this, if you'll follow it to the letter, you will soon see how easy it is and how powerful this is if you use the right bread tortilla. Give you another example of a category 2 tortilla. For example, in my survival kit, I take with me everywhere I go a La Tortilla factory tortilla. It's high fiber, breaks down more like a green bean, tastes just like a tortilla. So if I'm going to the El Nepal Mexican restaurant, guess what? I'm ordering 3 soft chicken tacos or some fajitas, throwing their shells away, and I'm using one of my shells, not 3, but 1. And then it's like I'm having green beans. These little pivots, I cannot stress it enough. Hear me, hear me. If you'll swap just your bread when you eat out, you're going to save yourself so much honk fat bus. All right, so that's all for this lesson. When we come back, we're going to talk about category 3 and 4.